I'm Sally. I'm the branch manager for the Larose Library, and we are going to do homemade bath bombs today. Hi everyone. Today we're going to make homemade bath bombs. A lot of the ingredients are things that you could find probably in your house already. A couple of them, I'll give you hints on where to find them, and they're very inexpensive items, so you can make nice DIY gifts or for yourself. We are going to start with 1 cup of baking soda. Then we're going to have a half a cup of citric acid. We're going to have a half a cup of cornstarch powder, a half a cup of Epsom salt, and we're going to have 8 to 10 tablespoons of oil. This could be baby oil, coconut oil, for the inexpensive route. And then we're going to put, if it's optional, we have essential oils and then food coloring, so we could have it some nice colorful pretty colors. We're going to start off with, in a mixing bowl, the 1 cup of regular baking soda. The citric acid is actually found in the canning section in most stores. That this is a 7.5 ounce. It's close enough to being a half of a container is good for a single batch. If you do a double batch, you could use the entire container. So I'm just gonna pour it in. When you do pour it, do not pour it over, don't put your face over it because the fumes will make you choke a little bit. Now this is what makes the bath bombs fizz. So this is, you don't want to have anything water-wise in here because the water will start to get it to activate. We're gonna do a half cup of cornstarch powder, and then a half cup of Epsom salt. Okay. The oils do not make the citric acid activate, so it's safe for you to pour this in. Now this is optional of which way you want to go, if you want to use the coconut oil, if you want to use the baby oil. I've done it both ways in the past. The coconut oil I find doesn't cause the citric acid to activate as much as the baby oil, so that's why we're using baby oil for today. So you just pour it all in. And then it's optional if you want to put essential oils. This one is very important if you're going to use essential oils, you buy the one that's made for soap making. If you get the one that's just for candle making or for just fragrance in your house, you could be buying one that would be irritant to the skin. So you want to make sure the one is you purchase is for soap making, because you don't want the other ones because it would be harsh. You'd end up with rashes or something. I'm gonna opt out not to put it in because I use baby oil. It has a nice baby oil smell, so I'm good with that scent. But this is optional. Lavender tends to smell good with the baby oil. It costs a couple of dollars to buy a little bottle like this, but it only takes about 5-6 drops of the oil. It's not very much you use, so it'll last you a long time. It could be used for fragrancing things in the house also, not just for making this. So you could get your money's worth buying a little bottle. I've found these at Hobby Lobby and a couple of other places. So like I said, be careful about the one you buy, that you buy the one that's for soap making. And then we're gonna use some ordinary food coloring later on after we mix everything so we can make them colorful. You're gonna take a spoon and you're just gonna mix it all up. nothing's activating because so far we've only used an oil. When we go to do the coloring, there's a trick to it, because the food coloring, unless you use a powder food coloring, which we're not, we're using the drops, it's got water in it, it actually does cause the citric acid to start activating. So I'm going to show you what I found works easiest for me. Now it should be, you got to mix everything up, and it should be the consistency of like damp sand. It shouldn't be overly moist. Now I did not put, I could put a small amount more of baby oil if I wanted to, but I'm just gonna mix this with my hand now. You could do it with your hand the whole time. It's just when you're mixing it, that baby oil, you don't want it to be all over your hands to start off with. I'm just mixing everything up. So it's gonna be where it's like magic sand or damp sand. It's gonna hold the form a little bit. It's just damp, but it's still crumbly, and that's the consistency you want. Wipe my hands. Now from this point, we are gonna split, because I want to do 4 different colors. So we are gonna split the contents into 4. Now, if you want to do it all one color, that is up to you, but I am going to split it because I want to do rainbow colors. I want to have unicorn bath bombs. Now, if you've ever purchased bath bombs before, you may have seen some with glitter or rose petals. You can put that stuff in it. Just be mindful that rose petals and glitter do not dissolve, so you're gonna have that left over in your bathtub after. Okay. Put a little bit more there. Yep, we have a pretty even amounts. Now the food coloring, I am going to do 4 different colors. I'm going to show you how I do one, so you understand. I am going to put rubber gloves on. That's up to you if you want to. It's just I don't want my skin to be stained with the food coloring, so this is optional, up to you. Okay. Because I tend to end up with it on my hands at one point between putting it in or not. Now this is the part that is tricky. You have to be careful and be fast with this, because once you start dropping in the food coloring, it's going to start to activate it. You have to act quick for it to stop activating, and usually I use the back of the spoon and smush it into the mixture we made, and it tends to stop, and then from there you could continue mixing to color it in, or you could add more in. The more drops you put, of course, the darker it's going to be. I don't tend to want to put a lot of color to make it dark, because I'm thinking food coloring in a bath might not be good. You don't want yourself to be turned colors, but that's just me. So I am going to drop. I'm going to do about 6 drops. So you're going to see where it's going to start to fizz a little. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And it's fizzing, fizzing, fizzing. And all you do is kind of smush it in. And that actually stopped it from activating. And now you could start mixing it. And if you want it darker, you could add more drops. And then once you get that little smushing in, if you have gloves on and you feel comfortable, you could start mixing it with your hand. I find it's actually faster with the hand to get the colors in. And it's like playing with sand. This is where the kids could have fun, because they could see it get colored, just sort of like how when you're coloring eggs, it just starts to change colors on you. and look how fast that's changing. It's a nice, decent blue with only 6 drops. Now I'm gonna do this with the rest of the others. I'm gonna do yellow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the same thing. I am gonna smush, smush, smush. And I use the same spoon, so they got a little bit of yellow, of the blue on it, but that's okay. And I'm just gonna start mixing it. It's fun, but it's a little messy, so try to do it in a place where it's okay to make a little bit of mess, where it's fun for the kids or for yourself. And that is, like I said, 6 drops of food coloring. It doesn't take much, and it's actually a good bit of color. If you want a more pastel color, you put less. I would probably go for about 3 or 4. Now the red, of course, is gonna make pink. I've tried to use blue and red to make purple, and it comes out gray. So I guess it depends on the food coloring you're using. Not sure. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Like I said, if you want to use your finger, all I did was smush it and it stopped it. But when it's just hitting air, it just tends to start activating. But once you start smushing it, it tends to stop. Very relaxing. Okay, that's done. And I'm gonna do green as my last color. So we are gonna have 4 colors. It's gonna be very colorful. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Done. And you just start mixing. Playing with food coloring, I recommend in the citric acid that you have, the kids are not doing this by themselves, they're doing this with a little parental or adult guidance, because it could get messy, and I don't know how, if you'd want food coloring all over the house, and also to make sure that they are not touching their mouth with this, because it is like putting soap in your mouth. It's not gonna taste nice, to make sure they're not doing something they shouldn't be doing. Okay, so we have 4 containers of different colors. Now, when it comes for the actual making of the bath bomb, you could do it different ways. You could go the nice professional looking way and use these little cups. They come in plastic or metal. You could use some little molds. I found these on clearance that they are candy molds, but they're the little flexible ones. I found a rose one also, so I mean, it's just something. But if you're just wanting something around the house, I've used in the past these little toothbrush, you know, these itty bitty little cups that they're paper. And I've also used the clear hard cups. If you have like Dixie cups or something like that, you can use it. Now, if you're going to use a hard cup, I recommend putting a cupcake paper in it at the bottom before you start filling it, because the paper cups, you could tear it away after. These, it makes it harder to get them out, so if you put the liner in it, whenever they're finished drying, you could pop them out easy and just take the wrapper off, and they'll be hard when you come out, so they'll be sturdy, but they tend to not come out of molds very easy that are not flexible or that you could pop out. So this would be a lot of, you would probably break them if you didn't use a liner. So I am going to use the little heart ones. Now all you have to do is scoop, and this is where the kids and whoever gets in, you could turn around and put a little bit here, you could put a little bit there, and this is where everybody's going to be able to get involved and put different amounts here and there. We are just going to make whatever color combination that you want, and then at the end you're just going to have to pack it in. Now if you want a bigger one than this, then I recommend using the little molds or the cups or something, but I've had friends and family in the past saying they don't like big ones because it seems wasteful. So these little small ones are perfect for a normal size cup for a small amount, or if it's not enough, pop 2 in. You know, I'm just gonna make a bunch of different colors. I'm just putting whatever color wherever and mixing it. So it is gonna look interesting when they come out, but they are basically gonna be unicorn, rainbow, hearts, whatever. And it depends on how big your mold is or what you're using on how many you're actually gonna make in a batch. This is just a single batch. A lot of times I would make more than that, especially if you're trying to make gifts or if you have a lot of kids that you are helping with the project. I'm just trying to fill it up, and then I'm going to show you how to pack it. And it's just a matter of just packing it in. Very messy, but this is so relaxing. I'm going to move this out the way for now, and I'm going to put it down. And all I'm going to do is make sure it's like packing sand in a mold. You want to make sure it is packed in really hard. I am probably going to have to put a little more over some. And that's okay. You want to push, 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 because you want it to be hard. Because the store-bought ones are probably pressed with a machine, so they are very hard, so they don't crack. And the harder they get pressed together, the sturdier, I guess you could say, they are. So they won't fall apart when you're handling them. Put some more. Wanted to get it as close to even as possible, but unless you're going into business, I don't think it has to be perfectly flat. Now when you use it, I have heard this from one of our patrons that the kids had a ball using them, especially the girls, but don't dunk your head in the tub when you're using these, because they do have a lot of baby oil in it. And she had oily hair after. She had to wash her hair after in the shower separately, because she ended up having baby oil all over in her hair, and that's not very nice. So yeah, you want to put your hair up, and I think that is packed in. So I mean, it's not perfectly flat, but it's good enough. Okay, so we are gonna let this sit. It needs to sit overnight or for at least 12 hours. So you want to make sure they're completely dry before you try to pop them out. If you're using a hard cup or a hard mold without any give, you want to pop them out after you mold them. I could probably pop these out now, but because they have a flexible edge, I'll pop them out tomorrow. So once they're done, because right now if I was to drop some of this moist mixture into water, it will activate. It will start as if it's a dried one, but we want them to dry so they could be popped out and hold its mold to the shape that we want it. Okay? And I will turn back in a minute and I'll show you the finished product. Hi everyone. Now that we let the bath bombs sit in the mold for a little while, I popped them out and I was able to make all of this in one batch. So you're not getting a small handful of it, you actually get a large amount. That you have the big balls, or these are actually smaller balls, so they have a measurement on the little cup that it's a number 1 size. I had both trays with the roses and the hearts done, so I have 12 of each of those, and then I have 5 of the bigger ones. They make great gifts, or if it's for your personal use, awesome. I wanted to show you how it reacts in the water. That you're thinking, oh, it's not gonna act the same way as a normal store-bought one. Well, this is one of them that we made in just some ordinary water. And it's gonna fizz. And it only takes a minute for the size. Like I said, I prefer to have smaller ones because you can always add a couple more instead of having those big ones that seem to be too much for a bathtub. So if you want, you could add 2 or 3 into the tub instead of having one big one. Okay, and it's already dissolved. Everything is, and you have the baby oil in it, you have the fragrance, it's gonna moisturize your skin, and it's just relaxing, and it makes you smell nice. Okay? And that is how you make a homemade bath bomb. Bye.